Wildcat activity 5.3 absolute value inequalities. You determine the linear absolute value equation absolute value W minus 145.045 equals 3.295 to identify the most and least a baseball could weigh and still be within the specifications. The manufacturer wants to determine all of the acceptable weights that the baseball could be and still fit within the specifications. You can write a linear absolute value inequality to represent this problem situation. All right, number one, write a linear absolute value inequality to represent all baseball weights that are within the specifications. That inequality is absolute value W minus 145.045 less than or equal to 3.295. Use the graph to determine, and we're actually not going to use the graph. We're going to substitute to determine, okay, the acceptable values. So we're going to substitute this number in here, this number, and so on, okay? So we're going to do the absolute value of 147 minus 145.045 less than or equal to 3.295. All right, so let's go ahead and go to scientific calculator. Now to do absolute value, this way we're going to do ABS, parentheses, 147 minus 145.045, and that's 1.955. Okay, so 1.955 is less than or equal to this. So 147 is weight. All right, let's take a look at 140.8. So that's the absolute value of 140.8 minus 145.045 less than or equal to 3.295. So we come over here, and all we have to do is change this number to 140.8, and we get 4.245. Okay, so this is not less than that. So 140.8 is not an acceptable weight. Okay, the student's going to work 2C and 2D, so go ahead and do that, and let's take a look at the next page. All right, number 3, use the graph on the coordinate plane to graph the inequality on the number line, showing all the acceptable weights. Explain your process. So you don't need to explain the process. We're just going to do the process with Desmos, okay? So we're going to go to Desmos. Graphing calculator. Now we want to graph, and we can use ABS, and we have to use X instead of W, minus 145.045. Okay, and we need to graph Y equals 3.295. Now we're basically coming back to this graph right here. Okay, now we can use Desmos, so we're going to adjust it from 138 to 150, 0 to 10. And to do that, we're going to click on this tool button, and we don't want it from negative 10 to 10. We want it from 138 to 150. And then it looks like the steps are counting by 2. And then the y-axis we want from 0 to 10. And I gotta delete the numbers to add to 10. 10. And we're going to do our step by 1, it appears. Okay. All right. So now we have our graph. We want this point and this point. Okay. Those points are right here. Okay. Now, less than means below the line. So we're below here. So that means the values are between here and here. So to correspond that to here, we have 141, which is about right there, and 148 is about right here. And we know that it's between. Okay. Now, to complete the inequality, that means 141.75 is less than or equal to, this is all the W values, 148.34. Okay. All right, let's take a look at number 5. Raymond has the job of disposing of all baseballs that are not within the acceptable weight limits. Write an absolute value inequality represents the weights of the baseball. So in this case, it's greater than 3.295. Okay. So going back to our graph, we're looking at everything above the line. So here and here. Okay. So we can see we're to the left and to the right. Okay. So our W values are still 141.75 and 148.34. Now, because there's no line underneath, it's an open circle here and here. And using our graph, we know we're shading left and to the right. Okay, so we're shading here and here. So W is less than 141.75 or W is greater than 148.34. All right, go ahead and finish it up. All right, let's take a look at activity 5.4, solving problems with absolute value functions. In Little League Baseball, the diameter of a baseball is slightly smaller than that of a professional baseball. Okay. What I'd like you to do is I want the students to work 1A and 1C. I've omitted B and I've omitted all of 2. So if you would, please work 1A and 1C. All right, and have a wonderful Wildcat day.